Hello, welcome to Intuitive Insights. I am your no BS woo-woo coach, Megan McDonough, here to help you make intuition a practical, applicable, easy for me to say, applicable tool that you use in your everyday life. So this week, I have what I like to call an inspiring conversation, an inspiring intuitive conversation. I interview Karen Blaine, who is a conversational hypnotherapist and just a magical human. We had so much fun chatting and exploring. She's an author. She is a mother of 4. She is just beautiful on the inside and out. And we just had the most delightful time exploring her work and how we can heal ourselves and empower others to do the same. Enjoy. Hello, welcome to Intuitive Insights. I am your host, Megan McDonough, and I have with me a very special guest. Today we have Karen Blaine. Hello, Karen.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, we see each other face to face, right?
Yes, exactly. Right.
So I'm going to give a little bit about Karen, but then I'll let her speak to her history and her accomplishments. Karen is a published author and a certified hypnotherapist with a specialization in conversational hypnotherapy. I'm writing that down because I want to talk about that. And she is an intuitive empath. Her writing is dedicated to educating, enlightening, and inspiring readers to find their most authentic selves and live their best lives. Karen aims to connect deeply with readers and teach them to dream big and embark on personal journeys that result in lives of love and gratitude, which sounds phenomenal and right up my alley. And I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Very glad.
So a couple of things. I have a few questions off the bat that I ask just to kick us off and see where we end up. But one of which is, what is intuition to you? How would you define it?
So I think everyone has that gut intuition, so to speak, where there's that line that they have. And if they're in the middle, say, of some kind of meeting or some kind of they're going out, even with friends who want to do something, they know instinctively there's this intuition that tells them, no, not a good idea. So everyone has an intuitive part of them.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed.
But I do think that sometimes an intuitive empath is somebody who can read the room.
Yes.
And feel the feelings of what's going on in that room and hopefully try to make it better.
Yeah.
Keep my answer short.
Yeah. That's an intuitive empathic alchemist.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you take the energy and you transform it into something more magical.
And hopefully it's always like on a higher level.
On a higher vibration. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That you're not like going into the abyss.
Well, the second question was going to be, how do you use it in your life? But it sounds like you use it in alchemical form, right?
Try really hard to be as good a person as they can.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you just spoke to, because, okay, so that phrase, be a good a person as I can, I feel like has been hijacked by a lot of different life philosophies. So what you said before that, I really appreciate, which is elevate things to a higher frequency.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I was just thinking, like, because somebody could say, I want to be as good as I can, but their form of good includes segregation, discrimination.
I agree. It's a very common phrase.
Right.
Never
right.
says
Right.
it. But do they act? And it's easier to speak than it is to do.
1,000%. Absolutely.
So
the doing is the hard
part. You do. You walk in and you try to kind of change that frequency in the room, right? See what you can do.
Yeah.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah. Okay, so but now I'm dying to ask you this. What is a conversational hypnotherapist?
Okay, so a hypnotherapist scares a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, am I
Really?
talking like a duck or whatever?"
Totally, yeah.
And for me, a conversational hypnotherapist is really, I do a lot of books on self-love.
Hmm.
And for people who really are raised without a lot of that. So we want to get
Right.
all of us to be our best in that respect. And
Yeah.
so the best way to do that is by just using conversational hypnotherapy. And I will give you an example, like of a
Yeah.
client. You just go to a nice dark room and a nice
Hmm.
soft bed, and you use a really nice blanket. Put
Hmm.
the lights, dim or dark, and you say you talk a little, so you find out what the person wants to really focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Then you only need 10 minutes really, but once they're kind of really relaxed and ready to receive,
Hmm.
you you put affirmations inside them, like you are more than good enough. Or
Mm.
you say about them, I am more than good enough. I am loved and I'm amazing. All kinds of things like that so that they can realize that and then look in the mirror and say it to themselves 100 times a day if they have to, if they want to.
Does it matter, like you were suggesting, that they go into a relaxed state? So does
Hey,
the state of mind or the state, does that make a difference in the conversation?
well, I think that you don't have to. I think you can
Yeah.
just look at your mirror if you want to and say it all the time.
Yeah.
My son Tristan, I think that he's saying something, but he does that, and he's a meditation teacher. But
Really?
yeah, but I think that when you're doing the conversational hypnotherapy, and you can't do it all the time, you're just taking
Right.
that one step further.
So the conversationalist hypnotherapy is more of like, if I can take what I hear you
Mhm. Of
saying and
course.
send it back to you to see if I'm understanding, is kind of like a meditative form of like brain wave shifting or creating new neural pathways. Is that, but it's like but it's instead of being completely hypnotized, it's like you're active. Is that or engaged?
Right.
Is
And
that?
hopefully, what you're doing is you're allowing a person to find that they don't have to always engage in, uh, you know, black and white thinking and stuff like that. They can learn to be authentic, which is really important, right? And
Hmm.
so things like that. You're right. I mean, you can use visualization while you're doing
Yeah.
it. You can use a lot of things,
Hmm.
get that same message across.
Right. Right.
Think about mantras right now, but they're in some of the one of the books. And mindfulness is great. I mean, you probably know that already because it's for every day, every moment that we exist is
Hmm.
hopefully we can be mindful and
Yeah.
and our best, well, the best that we are.
Yeah. You can say it. I didn't mean to deter you from saying that. Right.
Some
Right.
people
The
don't.
most involved version of self.
Yes,
Right.
that's
Like, yeah. Um, so, okay. So then I have a couple of questions on this. So we're in agreement that everyone is intuitive, but when is it and how is it that you realized you were intuitive?
I think, did I realize it or did I know it? They're two separate things. I think I
Okay.
felt
Both.
different
Yeah.
at 5 years old, but I didn't know why.
Hmm.
And it was against everything that I was raised with because
Yeah.
I was highly sensitive person. Which
Yes.
comes a
Yeah.
lot of times with being an empath.
Hmm.
And I was kind of told to get out of that and toughen
Yeah.
up and be different. And
Yeah.
society taught me to be different. So then I had 4 kids in a row.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you have kids, right?
I have kids, yeah. Not 4. I have half that many. I'm in awe.
And what it did was it gave me 20 years to just worry about them,
Right, right.
right? Focus on their needs. I don't have to think about mine. But then they grew up. Oh my gosh, they grew up. So I then said, wow, I have to deal with myself. It's time.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it was there all waiting. I wrote 7 books and
Wow.
6 of them are published. So
Yeah,
yeah, on Amazon, by the way.
yeah.
And they're under Karen Blaine. So just not to promote them or anything, but anyway.
You should. That's a huge accomplishment. That's amazing.
And
And so what pulled that out of you? Do you
it was
remember, was
just
there like
like
a
pouring out of me to talk about
Yeah.
going to that higher frequency.
Yeah,
And at 3 a.m. It was just, every
the
night,
spiritual tone.
yeah, it was just crazy. And I just had to write, like,
Yeah,
almost as if I had to write everything that I'd ever experienced. And it came out. And I feel so much healthier now, actually. So,
yeah, yeah. Do you remember what your first intuitive, like you said, when you were 5 years old, you felt it, but do you remember the first kind of thing that made you go, huh, that feels different? You know what I mean?
yes, I think so. I don't think at 5 or 6 I could put the right words to it, but I
Yeah,
said to myself, I feel so different than everybody else. I feel
yeah.
like like I'm part of a different world. It's like, I don't feel like
Mhm.
there's I don't know if I fit in. So I
Mm.
definitely couldn't say why until I was a lot older. And
Yeah.
then I think some triggers for me was when my dad died, when my girlfriend
Mm.
committed suicide. There were a couple different
Mm.
times.
Mm.
They helped to guide that process along. It just kept going and going.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I'm done
You're done with you're done.
writing.
I was like, wait, you're done with what? You're like, I'm good. Peace out. I'm done with this world.
I said one time I bronzed my dogs instead of saying, no, no, no. I made a bronze with my dogs. They were alive. They were alive.
You mean you're done with writing right now?
I'm done with writing right now.
Okay, okay. What was I gonna what was I gonna say on that? Okay, so how do you experience okay, when I relate, I find myself, I call myself an intuitive, an empath, you know, an artist. I kind of feel like most artists are empaths, or it at least is a good resume filler prior to being an artist. You know what I mean? Like a feeler.
Mm-hmm.
So how I experience that is what I call all the feels. So the feel, see, feel, hear, feel, know, feel. I mean, it's a
Right.
silly way of saying it, but so will feel something and get a visual, or I'll feel something and hear words, or I'll just feel something in my body. It'll resonate in some way, like either my throat feels like it's closing up, or my gut feels like it's, trying to communicate something. How do you experience it in your body, in your world?
I depends on where I am,
Yeah.
but let's take an specific example. We'll take a small party.
Yeah.
I will feel the energy around me. And where do I feel it? I feel it in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this deeply, but I don't want to get sad because
Right.
I can feel the sadness in someone, say in the room. I don't, I want to rise above that, right? Like we were just talking about. So what I want to do is make sure that I'm reframing the situation so that I
Mm.
make sure I stay positive and give
Mm.
them, maybe go over to them and help
Mm.
if I can. They won't even know I'm helping them, but if I can,
Right. Yeah. So it sounds like you'll like you'll hear calling for, like, it's almost like you're a nurse, an energy nurse,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
right? Like, so you're like hearing someone,
Yes.
like this person's, blood pressure is, energetic blood pressure is down.
Home run.
I know what they need, you know? I'm going to give them some B12 energy, whatever the heck
You're
that
right.
means. But, yeah. Yeah. When I'm in a crowd, to me, it sounds like, and even like when I would teach yoga and we'd get to the meditation portion of the class at the end, meditating in a group to me sounds like different radio waves, and it's like
Wow.
either some people are stuck in between stations
Huh?
and you hear a lot of static, or
Yes.
some people are locked in, really into a station and you can feel them, like that.
What do you do? Like, get them, say they're staticky. What do you
Yeah.
do to get them into a
Well, so as a teacher in a yoga class, I would just witness it, because for that is, well, the two things. It depends. It depends on what it is. If it's just static trying to hone into a station, then it's like, this is their path. Allow them to feel their way, find their way, like a little kid who's, you don't walk for them, you let them figure out how to walk, But if the little kid is completely lost, like it can't even figure out the station.
hear them a little?
Right. Yeah, so what I'll do is just turn my station on louder.
Got it.
So, and I think it sounds a lot like what kind of your
Mhm.
approach possibly, but I'll just, if I feel that, like you were saying, if you feel someone and it's heavy on your heart and you want to just, it's like you assess energetically what they need.
Right.
Like, ooh, I feel a lot of loss and pain.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the antithesis of that? What's the antidote for that? And that would be like loving connection,
That's
laughter. So what am I going to do? I'm going to walk up to them and make them laugh, make them happy,
smart.
shine my heart, connect,
And
and if someone's angry, same thing, what's the antidote to this emotion? How
humor
can I
is
provide it? Can I provide it? Am I able to provide it right now? And sometimes it's not even talking to them. It's just standing there and radiating as much as you can the opposite energy,
that's right.
and just knowing they'll pick up on it if they want,
Absolutely. Yes. And then of course, if I know them well, without trying to be preachy, and I don't, but I'll say,
Yeah.
just let's go to gratitude, right? Always.
Yeah.
And if you're in gratitude, it's really hard to be in a funky, angry,
Yeah.
fearful state, because we're here, we're breathing another breath, we're in that mindfulness.
Mhm.
So it's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Gratitude and curiosity, I find to be the antidote for
Curiosity
most
too.
things. Yeah.
Probably
Because you can't be, how can
where
you be angry when you're curious?
no, you
You're
can't.
sad.
So I think
It's
we
like,
all
what are
have
you
a
curious about?
superpower as well.
Yes.
This
Yes.
And it sounds like your superpower is being a creative, because I can remember you telling
Yeah.
me a long time ago that you were here in LA, right?
I was. Yeah. I
And so
was
you've always
for 11 years.
in a creative way. So you've always been a creative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always have been. It's something where, well, for me, I find intuition and creativity to be, like, I think we spoke about it, like intuition is potential creativity and creativity is kinetic intuition.
Hmm.
So that's how it is for me, that kind of, it's kind of like an infinity sign. They feed
Yes.
each other. They're opposite ends of each other flowing into one another.
Inter.
But for me, if I am not creating something in some way, shape, or form, I feel like I'm dying. I know that sounds very dramatic,
No,
but it's my air. It's how I breathe, you know?
I hear you.
And that also is my passion, is to help people figure out what their air is,
Yeah.
because when you find your air, it makes life more exciting.
And
And to figure
passionate,
out how to. And passionate, yeah. Purposeful, passionate.
meaningful. all that.
So what are some ways that you offer people to connect to their intuitive selves, their empathetic selves?
Well,
Yeah.
in the beginning of my books, I talk more about, because it's really about self-healing.
Yeah.
So we're not even at that point. As you go toward the first couple, my
Mm,
first book is called Who Are You? And it
mm,
kind of helps identify through a lot of different means who you are as a human being. And then it
yeah.
talks about narcissists, and it does it on a very basic level. Okay.
Yeah.
Second one's called Dreamscapes. And I'm just starting to, I should probably say this, but I'm starting to bring people in to this whole experience. So Dreamscapes is about the top 25 dreams and the subconscious and conscious. Because I'm big on the subconscious, it's
Mm-hmm.
on the, both of them, the overview and both subconscious and conscious interpretation. And
Mm-hmm.
third book is, well, that would be the fourth. The first book was Subconsciously Speaking. Apologize.
Mm-hmm.
That was about hypnotherapy completely.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one is called You Are Not Alone.
Mm,
And that's about people who are feeling totally lost and dark. And
mm,
I am trying to shine a light, and I'm trying to bring them into a place of love, self love,
mm,
and power.
mm,
So it's more of that. Then the
mm,
next book, Up in the Air, starts
mhm,
being a lot more about what you're talking about, which is about all kinds of energy vibrations,
mm.
energy fields, energy shields that we use, all
Yeah.
kinds of powers like that. I call them powers. And then my last book actually is called The Illusion of Perfection, which takes it back
Mm.
down, because I feel like so many people try to be perfect in this world,
Yeah.
and that
There's no such
then
thing.
that just perfectly imperfect. So we are human. And then that
Mhm.
takes it down again. But the book that has the most about energy is Up in the Air. Yeah, for sure.
Which makes sense. I mean, it's hard to relate to that, what I call the eternal self, the soul self, which the intuition is the speaker of, or the voice of. It's hard to connect to that if you've got physical, emotional, mental obstacles in your way.
Right.
You have to bring those back to balance or health prior. And then when you do that, then the others just start to flood, like
Exactly. That's how
you
I
were
feel
saying.
and hope. So
Yeah.
once.
Yeah. You just said something and it made me think the part about perfection, right? Like I'm finding that one. So one of my kids is at a school. Well, they're both in schools with like accelerated programs, but one, the whole school is accelerated. And we've had this conversation about perfection in parenting,
Mhm.
and uh, the conversation about what we say. Well, this is what I brought up, is what we say to the kids doesn't matter because they're not listening. What they're doing is they're watching.
Right.
They're emulating behavior. They're not listening. It's why, we're always like, why aren't you listening? I'm like, because they're not going to listen. They're going to watch.
Right.
That's how they learn. So, but having said that, the idea of perfection,
Right.
and that, yes, it's an accelerated school. And so therefore everyone's already in this space of perfection, and perfection is the killer of all process.
Absolutely.
And the human experience is a process.
Yes.
It has a beginning and an end,
I wish more
and it's the
teachers
process in
understood that,
between.
don't you?
What?
I wish more teachers understood how to say that to kids, especially when they're trying to
Yes,
create more of a you need to go to college, you need to go to this,
that's
that.
right.
And I wish they said, but make room, because you're gonna make a lot of errors and it's okay. Don't
And yes,
give up a hard time.
well, I have to say that's okay. So that was what I was getting to, is that now I notice I have an opinion about a couple of reasons why it might be happening, but my kids, I notice, are afraid to make mistakes. And then I teach kids in the public schools. I teach yoga through a vendor, and I notice my kids are not alone in that. A lot of kids now are afraid to make mistakes or don't know how to make mistakes. And I think a lot of that has come from us. It's like the swing of the pendulum from the 80s. Like I grew up in the 80s and it was like, come home, don't die before the lights come in. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
hope you make it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Maybe there'll be some Chef Boyardee. Maybe you fend for yourself. You know what I mean? So the complete opposite of that is, what are you doing every second of the day? You can't ever have a bad thought. You can't ever say a bad word. Don't ever scrape your knee. Oh my God. You know, you have a cut. Call in the EMT. Like it's gone completely the opposite direction. It's like everything you eat must be organic like, I get it. I'm one of those people because you're trying to do what you didn't do because that was what you perceived as perfection. Right?
Right.
Or you didn't get. So there's that element, but then add in social media. Because the social media and everything being documented, it's like I saw something. I saw like a reel the other day of some guy who was high, like on marijuana, right? It was like a jokey one. And he was like, I'm so high. And then he started crying. And then it was obviously like a funny, short thing, right? Which, yes, I laughed. I thought it was funny. But my God, the next thought I had was, thank God, when I was messing up, as you should, in your teens, in your 20s, whatever, there was no social media around.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God, if your failures, if your falls were documented for the world to see, my God, you wouldn't want to try to fail. And how can you have art without failure? How can you have a society without, risk and failure and differences? I mean, anyway.
Totally common expression that it's the journey, not the destination. So we're going to fail many, many, many times, but that's part of just the process. It's the process,
I remember having an argument with a friend of mine. I mean, like a nice argument, but then, but I said process. What did I say? Oh, I said perfection is a journey, not a destination.
You said that?
And she said, no. I think she was saying perfection is a destination. I was like, no, it's a journey.
Absolutely.
And you don't land on perfection. Perfection is showing up. Perfection is doing something when you don't want to. That's being, perfecting the process as you're in the process.
To interrupt you, sorry.
Yeah, please do.
The reason I did write The Illusion of Perfection at the time was two of my friends. One was very famous. It was very famous. One was so wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that. She was worth like $200 million. And so that's wealthy. And they both committed suicide.
Oh, sweetie.
And the reason is because inside them, they didn't feel
perfect.
It came back to childhood issues that they had dealt with. I would have loved to have just, but I can't sit there and say, I'd love to take you back and work with you because actually my girlfriend Wendy was a psychotherapist, and she's the one, and she was beautiful and talented and smart. But and then the other one I'm just not going to mention, but
that's okay.
I mean, so what I started to say in the book is, in my introduction, if you ever thought that someone who was rich, famous, beautiful, if you said, why would they be down? Why would they, ever want to hurt themselves or anything? When you finish this book, you will never ask that question again. Because it has nothing to do with the external. It's completely internal based.
It's the conversation you have with your internal self, which is, I think, what you were saying with your hypnotherapy.
Yes.
It's like, I call it soul-self conversation.
Right.
Soul-self connection, because the soul is the eternal.
Right.
The self is the impermanent. The self is the finite.
Right. I agree.
But we have this conversation called life and the journey of life together throughout our time, and finding the harmony of the physical and the eternal that's the balance. That's the yoga, really.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't mean to bum you out, but
No, I think it's a very it's very useful, and I'll say, because like I'll share a personal story, which I feel like I've shared before, maybe not, maybe so. But I stopped drinking almost 4 years ago now. It'll be 4 years in December.
that's great.
And I honestly don't know when. I don't know the date. I don't need to know the date.
That's good.
Because for me, it's not about the date. It's about the everyday
action.
process. Yeah. But the reason was that this time it feels like it sticks, you know? And it wasn't because I was like finding myself drinking all the time or getting hammered every day, or it was none of that, matter of fact. I mean, I had my time in my 20s for sure. Like, I feel like I needed to apologize for my 20s at some point to everybody, but like,
Yeah.
that's what the 20s are for, And, there are times that I drink more than I'd like to, and then I'd, self-flagellate for at least a couple of days later, But it was getting also to the point where it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. Like one glass of wine at night was keeping me up in the middle of the night and making me more stressed. And the point of it was to de-stress. So I was like, well, this isn't serving me in any way.
Right.
But also it was helping me numb my conversation with soul self.
Mm-hmm.
Or numb may not be the right word. It was distance.
A good word. That's a good word.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, because what it did is put a filter over it, so it didn't hurt so much. Yeah.
Yeah, the filter. It was the filter. And so what I felt was, to me, the soul self conversation, I'm getting emotional right now, but the soul self conversation to me, and tapping into the intuitive side of myself and not putting the filter on or blinding myself from who I am, or a large part of me, was more important to me than fitting in.
Absolutely.
And so that's where, and that's what I hold on to. So now if I think about drinking or whatever, I'm like, I don't really want to. Like, I can have a fake drink. I love that they have a whole bunch of those now.
Cocktails,
just to like,
right?
Yeah, mocktail's great. Just juice. It's like juice. Basically, it's like carbonated juice.
Yeah.
But like, I can have like one or two of those, and then I'm like, my stomach hurts, and I'm like,
yeah,
forget it.
Well, yeah, they're too sweet.
But it's like, and then I'll just have water. Who cares? I'd love to go to bed before 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Your kids are later than you, right?
Yeah. So it's like, but the point is that, and then I have ADHD, and with that, I did not realize until years later, I had what I thought was a separate conversation or separate part of self, which was depression, that I've always had a relationship with. And I didn't realize till the last few years that relationship is part of my ADHD relationship.
Yeah.
And
because it wasn't acknowledged,
when I drank,
right?
Yeah. Yes. But when I drank, it would further impede that self-love conversation.
Yes, of course.
So
it's a block.
Connecting to the soul self. Yeah, connecting to the soul self. I'm just bringing it back to, so that depression part was enhanced by alcohol. The alcohol in my chemistry enhanced the depression part.
I think that alcohol, isn't it a depressant? It's a depressant.
It is a depressant.
Yeah.
But if you're already dealing with low levels, Anyway, so to me, it was more important to keep.
When did you realize you were ADHD?
Oh my God. Well, a label for it was when the label came wildly known. It was kind of like a no-brainer.
Were your parents?
But when I was a kid, I mean, from the get-go, but we didn't have anything to call it except for you're an annoying bad kid who's always getting in trouble, won't shut up. Like that.
Write it down.
And can't focus. That's what we called it back in the 80s.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't until the 90s that I was like, ADHD. I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. You know, but I didn't really know. So I actually didn't get diagnosed until my daughter got diagnosed. Because I thought, you know what? I'm going to get diagnosed with you. We'll do this together. And I remember, because I always felt stupid, as a kid. And I remember the chick saying to me in the evaluation, she goes, you're smart. And I was like, shut up. Who are you talking about? You know what I mean? I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, no, you're like really smart. And I was like, stop, seriously? And she's like, yeah, because, you have to do all these tests and whatever. And I was like, wow. I was like, so does that mean I'm ADHD? And she was like, oh my God, yes, you're totally ADHD. She was like, there's no doubt that you're ADHD.
What about your daughter too? I wonder if it's genetic. Do you think it's hereditary?
It is genetic. ADHD is genetic. It is genetic, but I will also say I have another opinion. I have lots of opinions about, I feel like the attention span with our technology, YouTube shorts, stuff like that, all that, the way we consume information nowadays highlights and emphasizes the neural pathways in an ADHD way in the brain. So the kids, more kids are being diagnosed with ADHD that may just be responding to their environment, not necessarily chemically born.
They're blah, 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 blah. It's so bad for that.
It is. And every time I hear from my kids, I'm bored, there's nothing to do, which is often, I will say, well, good for you. Boredom is the breeding ground for creativity. Get at it.
Yeah. Are any of them like creatives like you are?
They both love creating stuff. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. They do. How about with your children? Did you are your kids But your son is a meditation teacher.
Yes, Tristan's a lot like me. I'm sorry, I completely forgot. Yes.
You forgot about him?
Yeah, I forgot about it. I did. I really did. Because he was a lawyer first for a long time. And then he realized it wasn't his calling. But I I didn't know until the last couple of years when he came out in more ways than one.
Yeah.
And then said, I want to, now he's in school to become a psychotherapist. And and he teaches meditation classes on weekends and he does all kinds of things. But yes, Tristan is definitely a lot like me. I didn't know it. I didn't know a lot. It's a lot to himself. My other three are not like.
Meaning what? Are they more
introverted? Yeah. And they're not. My husband's not. They are, well, I have another lawyer. I have a daughter who's just has a lot of people who she manages underneath her. And then I have a son who is very, he talked to the wall, what the wall talked back. So just very, and they're all just so extroverted and they think I'm they love me. And they love how I raise them, right? But I don't know if they understand me, and that's okay. Yeah. It's okay. I love them. That's okay. That's who they are.
Yeah. You don't have to understand someone to love them.
No, not if they're your children, especially.
No, especially. Karen, your books sound amazing. So you said they're all on Amazon, and I have some that I'm ready to read. I'm excited to read, but I really am. And I love the way you sequence them because they do sound like a journey through each one.
They're all on Amazon. I'll just quickly go through them. One's called Who Are You? Finding Your Superpower. Second one's called Dreamscapes, and that's integrating the subconscious and the conscious dreams. So you figure out what it is you're dreaming. Like fear of flying, fear of falling. But a lot of us have those. Subconsciously speaking, which is purely about hypnotherapy and what it entails, which was the first. I'm sorry, that was the beginning. But You Are Not Alone is the one that's made the biggest impact. And that talks about, that really hits home and hard on self-love and self-esteem and self-compassion. And I feel like if we give ourselves that self-compassion, we don't need anymore to be perfect. When you're really, truly have that, then you'll say, okay, I messed up. It is what it is. And so it's really important. But in that book, I talk about grace. I talk about little spirituality after we talk about self love. Then we go through some of the childhood traumas people have gone through because you have to. And
Yeah.
then we come out the other side about choices because
Mhm.
there's so many people who make the wrong choices because
Mhm.
they haven't understood what they're doing and the power of who they are and why they are doing what they're doing, right? So
Right.
you can make the right choice if you understand yourself, if you process those emotions
Or an empowered choice.
or
Yeah. Like
empowered
you
choice.
can empower yourself with choice instead of make small choices out of a small mental framework,
Right.
instead of an expanded, empowered,
And sometimes
fearless.
both forks in the road say you want are great, but sometimes
Yeah.
they're not. And you just want to be in that position to kind of understand where you're.
Yeah.
And then I talk about on this one, passions and gratitude and then passions. So that's that whole book. I gave it to you.
Yeah.
Up in the Air does a lot of philosophy, a lot
Mm.
of it goes into all kinds, like I told you, of vibrations of the earth
Mm.
and energy healing and shields. Because some people like me, I do use energy shields. I don't.
Mm.
You need them. Do you? When you're at
I
a
do. You mean like energetic, like
just to shield yourself from the energy sometimes of others.
I have what I call the kind clear gel,
Mm,
which it's like a
yeah,
clear, thing, but it's maybe an inch or two thick and it absorbs and absolves anything that's not serving inside out to outside in.
good.
That's what I
I use
I arm
purple. My
myself with
favorite
that
color is
sometimes.
purple, and or I use crystal clear, and I
Yeah.
literally think about a sphere around me, and
Yes.
I'm like, I'm
Yes.
putting that around me because I'm feeling way too much right now, and I don't want to
Right.
blow it for say it's one of my kids or something. I just want to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
okay. So I put those shields up, and I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm. It's funny that you have the exact same thing. Really?
I do. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's very universal if you tap into, you know, um,
Um,
I mean, my hope and my love would be for us all to talk without words, to have that kind of emotional telepathy or speak in the way of intuitives, how you would do it in intuitive reading. I mean, I feel like if we can connect in that space, override this, I'll say, 3D,
yeah,
world, that a lot of the bullshit falls away,
you're right.
you know?
You're completely right. We live in a very, I hate to say it, not that, I won't use a negative way of looking at it, but we don't live in an authentic world.
It's a very dense world.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it hard to see through things
Mm-hmm.
and things
Absolutely.
can get confused easily
And
and
I'm sure,
manipulated and
sorry that
twisted
I'm
easily.
interrupting you again, but
Yeah. No.
I'm sure that both of us want to kind of be with like-minded people. I've learned that.
Mm.
Have you? Yeah. So it's really,
Yeah.
that's really important for our healing, for us to be
Yeah.
whole. But we do have to deal with others that are not on that wavelength.
No. And navigating that is maybe that's your next book.
Are you trying to give me more work?
Yes.
A new book, you're right.
Because that is a thing. I mean, once you finally realize, like, once you kind of come to terms with, man, the reason I don't feel like I fit is because I don't. And that's okay. But I like where I'm at and I don't want to shift me or downgrade my frequency in order to match others that
In
surround
order to
me.
be loved by you.
Yes.
And is your love real anyway? If you're trying to change
Well, yes, I would say for that, I would say, like, it's not if it's real or not. It's the depth of the frequency of it.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Right?
Yes, I agree.
Because, like, and this is maybe controversial to say, but Hitler didn't know he was Hitler. Do you see what I mean?
I do. And we're both.
Hitler thought he was doing the right thing.
I remember we're both Jewish, so right?
Oh, you are?
Yeah, remember we talked about it?
Oh, that's right. That's right. But yes, no, I mean, it's point being, like, he can't see past his own vibration.
Right.
And you can't fault someone for that.
Mm-hmm.
You can hope they elevate their vibration. You can hope that they see through how their vibration radiates out to others and affects them in a not so positive way or elevating way. But you can't fault them for their vibration.
You know, it's weird. I never have mentioned this before, but I did kind of a deep dive looking at Hitler from a different perspective in Argentina, where some people said he retired, and some people said that he was kind, caring, looked them in the eye, seemed very loving. So that was what I read, and that so didn't go with the fact that all my ancestors,
Right.
So,
yeah,
I just was like, wow, you can actually have two different ways of using that frequency if you do not understand what you're doing or who you are, right?
That's true.
Sad.
That's true. And also, I mean, going back to the failure and going back to social media and the state of, you know, I don't even like to say this, but the cancel culture crap, you know, that's not allowing people, it's not giving people the autonomy to change.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
And I'm not saying Hitler would have changed, but I'm saying, but what I am saying is, like, we're allowed to.
We're allowed to. As we grow, that's part of that journey you were talking about and I was talking about. We're allowed to change our perspective. We're allowed to make mistakes. We are still human. And I have learned, actually, I'm much better, even every month, I think, at shaking things off that would have bothered me before.
Yeah. I go in and out, but yeah.
That's good. Just call me if you need me.
I will. I'll be like, can't take this one, Karen. Help me. Help a sister out. I'll go get a blanket, some soft music.
And I'll be throwing those affirmations at you. It can be.
Yeah, tell me what my brain needs to know.
It will be. I will be. I like to put it in the first person.
Yes. All right, Karen, how can people find you?
Well, either my website is eternalempath, 2 words together, .com, or all the books are on Amazon too.
I got you. I'll put it all in there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It was a joy talking to you. I'm so grateful our souls found each other.
Me too. And it was like a continuation for me of grateful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Same. All right. Well, let's just keep the conversation going then.
Yes. We'll talk again.
Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed that conversation between Karen and I. On that conversation, I have a couple of offerings I'd love to share with you. I did speak about how in the conversation, how it would be delightful, and my hope for the world is that we can communicate in an intuitive way without all the BS of words that get in the way of what's really at our core, kind of our light connecting to our light, if you want to make it sound metaphysical, which it kind of is. In order to bring this hope and dream into the future, I am offering a 3-month intuitive mastery for the creative empath called Trust You Are a Spiritual Badass, because you are. 3 months weekly live coaching, group coaching. And this is to learn how to clear your lens. We spoke a little bit about that in this episode, so that you can communicate clearly with your intuition and not through some kind of filter that you inherited, that you picked up along the way, or that's not yours. So clear the lens for your intuition. 2nd month, we focus on conversation with our intuition. What is the relationship? How do we communicate? How do we interpret it? How do we interpret what our intuition is communicating to us? And then the 3rd month is, how do we do that with others? How do we take those tools and put them into practical use in the universe? That is my hope. And if this sounds interesting to you, you can book a discovery call with me, a consultation, creative empath call, to see if this is the right fit for you. I would love to help you foster this relationship to self and, in turn, relationship to others. Let's make some magical waves and ripple them out, people, right? All right. I hope you enjoy your day. You can find everything on magnetizeyourlight.com. And thank you for watching. And if you're with me still, God bless. And thank you so much to Karen Blaine for our wonderful conversation. Have a wonderful week. Make some magic today. I'll see you soon. Thank you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed that conversation between Karen and I. On that conversation, I have a couple of offerings I'd love to share with you. I did speak about how in the conversation, how it would be delightful, and my hope for the world is that we can communicate in an intuitive way without all the BS of words that get in the way of what's really at our core, kind of our light connecting to our light, if you want to make it sound metaphysical, which it kind of is. In order to bring this hope and dream into the future, I am offering a 3-month intuitive course, intuitive mastery for the creative empath, called Trust You Are a Spiritual Badass, because you are. And we meet 3 months weekly live coaching, group coaching. And this is to learn how to clear your lens. We spoke a little bit about that in this episode, so that you can communicate clearly with your intuition and not through some kind of filter that you inherited, that you picked up along the way, or that's not yours. So clear the lens for your intuition. 2nd month, we focus on conversation with our intuition. What is the relationship? How do we communicate? How do we interpret it? How do we interpret what our intuition is communicating to us? And then the 3rd month is, how do we do that with others? How do we take those tools and put them into practical use in the universe? That is my hope. And if this sounds interesting to you, you can book a discovery call with me, a consultation, creative empath call, and we can connect further on that to see if this is the right fit for you. When I first started training yoga, my teacher said to me, there are 2 reasons why people come to learn yoga. One is the physical. The people who are coming in to learn the physical, to get their body into health, to focus on the body and the body's holistic functioning, right? Well-balanced functioning. The other is the spiritual. People come to yoga to gain the spiritual wisdom that yoga offers, the scientific structure of yoga. But here's the thing. Those who come for the physical will get a little bit of the spiritual. Those who come for the spiritual will get a little bit of the physical. I see the same thing when it comes to creativity and intuition. So for the creative who wants to focus or is coming on the creative portion of self, like you feel that relationship has weakened along the line in your life and you want to reinvigorate it. I have the monthly meetups. We get together virtually. We meditate on the lunar themes of the month as to give us a springboard and an energetic time awareness to what might be being asked of us energetically at the moment. Then we create, whether it's coloring a coloring page I provide or just doing your own thing or just playing and exploring and doodling. I offer journal prompts and then we share. The insights that come through are not only mesmerizing, but the connections that kind of ripple through each other subconsciously without connection verbally prior it's magic. That's what I believe. So there is that. And then I also offer coaching. if you're not in the mood for a group and you do want to connect to your intuitive self, but you'd like a little guidance and some tools as to how to clear your energy, how to work with your intuition, I offer the Intuitive Soul course, which is 2 parts. One is a huge deep dive reading, which is more of like what I call it a deep tissue massage for your soul talk. And it comes with an audio recording and personalized workbook. In addition, you have a follow-up mini coaching session with me to help you incorporate all the stuff, the insights, the messages that came through in your reading so that it doesn't just come up and go away. You can actually use it in your life. And I also offer coaching for intuition in general. So whether it's personal, in a group, coming from the intuitive side or the creative side, I would love to help you foster this relationship to self and, in turn, relationship to others. Let's make some magical waves and ripple them out, people, right? All right. I hope you enjoy your day. You can find everything on magnetizeyourlight.com. And thank you for watching. And if you're with me still, God bless. And thank you so much to Karen Blaine for our wonderful conversation. Have a wonderful week. Make some magic today. I'll see you soon.